Hey folks, this is Ben Yessel. I'm definitely making a few videos here tonight. This one I think is going to be a little bit more something where, well, how can I put this? It just occurs to me that there are things that help us have happy lives and things that don't. So that's, starting with a very, very, very broad topic, I'm going to narrow it down, of course. But I thought at least start out by mentioning this very fairly understandable concept, right? I guess this is kind of going to be oriented around something more about what I have very little or no patience for right now, or increasingly less patience, and why. Well, regarding our modern life we live in, that I so dearly love, right? Yeah. Would I want to live in medieval Europe? Oh, well, if it's a romanticized fantasy version that we've been very much presented with in video games and other media, sure, but we all know that Middle Ages was different in real life. But anyway, so, um, what kinds of things have I just... let me personalize this. What kinds of things have I dealt with that are not fun at all, that I still am kind of dealing with, that I think we all deal with, more or less, or we're all dealing with more or less right now, more or less, more or less. I love that phrase. I probably overuse it. So, if you're like me, and all of our work situations are different, or what we were doing for work before COVID-19. But if you're like me, and you're at least working a little bit, somewhat, you're probably like, last 3 or 4 months, man, it does feel like a vacation without being a vacation. So it feels like a vacation, but yet it's not, because you're not really somewhere else. You're not sipping I don't know if you do pina coladas. I would just do pineapple juice, but increasingly not even that. Right? So no, I mean yeah, a vacation's vacation, and your regular life is not necessarily vacation, but you might not be working as much. So what are you doing to occupy your time? Well, I have my brainstorming things and whatever, but I'm coming to understand more and more. This is the first point I want to make. And my point is, man, you know, um, I think it's something like, um, wow, I just don't have all the answers for how I can be busier, or what I can be more doing, or how I can be busy, how I can just have a more fuller day doing things. I don't have all the answers for that right now. I really don't. I watched a video today, and yeah, I know I'm very susceptible to these rumors and things. I watched a video about a Dr. Jensen over in Minnesota, who was coming under fire for some issue related to COVID-19 or something. I couldn't really follow it entirely. I mean, there was a lot of backstory that I wasn't really getting fully. And then the same video was followed by I would assume, someone from Africa. I would imagine a minister, but maybe not be a minister. So somebody who's a bit more educated and seasoned perhaps in years, somewhat, but definitely from Africa. And he was talking about, and it wasn't a video of him actually talking, it was just his picture. But he was talking about Bill Gates and David Rockefeller and some kind of plans to start COVID-19, ship the virus out to China. I watched it. I'm like, part of me was just like, oh, wait. No, I've been over this already in my mind. I've entertained this notion already. I came to the conclusion that it probably wasn't Illuminati based. But yet, you have this stuff still circulating, and this guy is talking, and you have no idea where he got that information. You don't know what the document was. You just don't know. But yet, it fuels the fire, right? Of, oh man, and so many people right now, man, it's like lighting a match on dynamite. You talk about this stuff, everybody's so worked up and angry about everything already. Just that one little thing will set them off. Boom, right? Some of you guys watching this right now, maybe you might go, boom, might do the exploding with, like doing fist pumps and or like boxing or punching a punching bag or just like shouting or yeah, I don't know. I'm just everybody's a little different, and this is one of the nice things about being a little bit drowsy at times when you make a YouTube video, because then you don't get all worked up. So, so, you see this stuff, and there's, oh man, I mean, like, we've had, I can't tell you, by the way, how many things I have heard. It's like, it numbers in the millions. Easy. Easy. Well, at least hundreds of thousands of things I have heard that have not been 100% factually proven to be true. That everybody can agree on that this is what actually happened. We actually know that Kennedy was shot because he in fact died after being shot. We have video footage of that. I'm talking about that level of knowledge, not anything less than that. So that's everything I know. That's a conspiracy related thing. And still, even though this has not been proven, I don't know what this African guy was reading. I don't know where he got that information. I have no idea. I wish I did. I wish I knew. But it's just hearing it, entertaining that notion that this was an engineered thing, and that we have lost, I don't know how much money. Some of you guys much worse off than me, but I'm worse off than many other people. We're all beyond angry at this point. We can't, our normal lives that maybe weren't normal, we were miserable anyway. Whatever was going on in our lives, it was all changed when COVID-19 hit. And to think that this was all an orchestration, I don't know. I mean, like, I was very angry with some folks recently on the phone, and let me tell you, that anger would probably be 10 times worse, easy. Actually, 100 times worse. You could probably hear me in downtown Seattle from Kenmore, how loud I'd be shouting. I mean, like, you know what I mean? You get me to Tacoma, Olympia, Portland, San Francisco. What I'm trying to say is like that's an unthinkably evil thing. But I've heard worse rumors. I mean, it's like some of the worst. I've heard some really, really diabolical things that, again, have not been proven to be 100% true, but yet they're so diabolical and so evil. Like, the folks in Italy, the Illuminati, or I don't know, not just Italy, but it's the baby eating folks, like the royalty and the Black Pope, and all sitting down to eat a dinner of roasted baby. Maybe not even roasted. I don't know. that kind of stuff. So I hear all this stuff. I hear a lot of it, even though it's so sensational, it's so angering that just hearing it, entertaining the notion that it might be true, it's so despicable and so evil and wrong. It sounds 100, 1,000 times worse than anything Lester Crowley ever did, or certainly, certainly, um, Anton Cezanne LaVey. LaVey was a very good man compared to Aleister Crowley, but Aleister Crowley was certainly not the wickedest man who ever lived. That honor would go to someone we probably don't know of. I don't know. It's just Aleister Crowley was just famously so, and he had a lot of money. So that he squandered, by the way, squandered on drugs and women, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Opium was quite the thing, I guess, back in his time in England. Opium. Wow, man. Just called the 1800s the opium. It was the drug of choice in the 1800s and early 1900s, turn of the century, basically, in England. I guess you call that the Edwardian era, whatever. Victorian, Edwardian, whatever. So, I digress. I was going to make this video, as you can probably guess, about all the things that are just not sitting well with me again. And for one, it's how long this is going on. It's, the heck. It's mid-July. And this thing started, I don't know when? Like, March, April? It's April, May, June. We're more than 3 months into this thing. This is taking up more than a fourth of the year. I'm feeling it. I'm trying not to feel it. I'm trying to do, the thing is it's just everybody's situation is a little different. But now that we have summer going on, I don't have air conditioning. I'm trying to stay cool. My landlord's an elderly gentleman. I'm not going to go through the laundry list, of course, of what I have to deal with, at least domestically. But basically, it's just, I'm able to keep my cool by means that are, moral and ethical and work however I can. I keep my cool in certain ways. And one of those ways is articulating what it is that I'm bothered by. I'm still bothered by many people's attitudes in the United States. I mentioned dating related things in the past. But no, I'm very much bothered by it all. By how people treat each other. In general. In the United States. I've always thought in other countries maybe people treat people better. But, some part of me, my inner voice is saying, well, it's probably not a whole lot different overall. They have different cultures, but there's still a lot of scumbags in other countries. And I'm like, the grass is always greener somewhere else, right? That's the train of thought. Like, no, I mean, this is an ongoing thing. This is like throughout my entire life. This is not just a recent thing. But, again, I see these signs, like, at first it started out like something like I mentioned this before. I know when I was like going on a walk and something recently, I've seen the signs. We're all in this together. Stay strong, whoever. Stay strong, Washington. Or all this stuff. Stay well. And I mentioned that it sounded like a really cheesy Purge thing. A phrase that they would use in a Purge movie. It's just idiotic and stupid. A catchphrase, right? I mentioned that stuff in an earlier video. And by this point in time, sorry, I'm rarely on Facebook. I'm just never on there. But just like I've been some folks would use the word. Some folks was like bitching. Yeah, just like I've been complaining about YouTube ads that you keep hearing over and over and over again. I just boycott YouTube, but then you would get the awesome videos, right? And a lot of my entertainment's YouTube. But yeah, just like Just like the YouTube ads that keep playing over and over again. You keep seeing these stupid signs, and people. Uh, and what, sure, you keep hearing about. What? You keep hearing about Black Lives Matter, BLM, and marches, and you keep actually hearing about people that are primarily black, but not just black. You keep hearing about things that police have done, or recently. Who's the latest black person that's been killed by a cop, or some other event? But other people of other races are being killed, and all the time, you know. But it's like, and every time this happens, this is happening like now, almost every day, and like it's like you're like, is this any different than the past? I mean, really? And there's black on black violence, and we just don't know about it because we just don't know about it. In Detroit, and what is Detroit known for? It's known for many things, and one of those things in modern times, right, is what? Violence. Detroit is very violent. And it's not just black and white violence or white and black. Oh, man. Because Detroit is 80% black, it's black on black. Because, that's who lives in Detroit. It's mostly black people. And so, it's not like they're driving out with their, cars they bought from drugs. They're not driving out in the suburbs and shooting up the suburbs. No. It's more of the same old Crips versus Bloods. Mostly black, some white. I don't know. It's just more of the same old. But the thing is that, it's just the amount of... And my landlord's always watching his news, so I hear it every single day. Every single day, without fail. I'm hearing stuff in that whole arena of thought. I'm hearing about race. Literally every single day, I'm hearing about race. I want to just take what Morgan Freeman said about the subject, where if you just don't talk about it, if you don't acknowledge it, it's not a problem, right? It is. He's right. It really isn't a problem if everybody in the world and if everybody in the United States, if we all just stop bickering about this stuff and we just lived our lives and we just didn't stew about this and we just treated people well, the problem actually would basically solve itself. You could talk about, interracial marriage and all this genetic stuff and whatever else. Okay, but the problem of actually being a racist and this violence, involved with racial thinking. No, Morgan Freeman's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. But, so that's the problem with this, with hearing about this all the time, is we keep being reminded of this stuff. And so it's flying in the face of everything that Morgan is saying. It has a complete opposite effect of what we want. When I hear people say we need to talk more about this, or we just open discussion, hey, let the feelings flow freely and all this stuff. Say that 5 times fast. Feelings flow freely. Feelings flow freely. I could listen to Charles Barkley all day. I love the man. He's a great guy. What I'm trying to say is maybe it's a little exact. I do like Charles Barkley. Sincerely, I really do. I like Charles Barkley. I can laugh at it all. I don't. He is the least racist. He's the least racist person I know. Yeah, it's no big thing. It's like you say, okay, sure. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, sure. I can see it. Sure. The thing is, and what Charles is saying, when he talks about this stuff, it's different than Morgan. Morgan's saying, yeah, just don't talk about it. Not like it's like you get upset if you talked about it. Just that it's best not to get into it, because then you get all into all these trains of thought that just end up sounding what? And everybody's good. Yeah, it's like, we've always had that. We know there's always that moment in junior high or wherever where all these judgmental kids will, look at you funny if you say something that they think is, oh, you're digging yourself. That was the 90s thing. You're digging yourself a hole. You're digging yourself a pit there. No, you're not. You just don't always know how to say certain thoughts. But whatever. It's just teenagers, just idiots. Anybody who thinks that way, it's idiotic. But most people grow out of it. Hopefully, I don't know. But so Morgan's like, he's right. And then Charles Barkley is also kind of right. Because what does Charles want to talk about? Well, it's what a lot of people want to talk about. It's like, why don't black people get the same salaries as white people? Why don't we treat people precisely the same way, regardless of race? Why is it that why do you prefer the company of some races over other races? Why do you prefer to marry, those of certain races? Or, in all these subtle things, that's what Charles wants to talk about. That's what he really, or someone like Charles Barkley, when he's more convivial, when he's more opening up a little bit, when he trusts people. But Charles is actually a pretty fearless guy anyway. But it's like, that's what he wants to talk about. He wants to talk. Hey, Denzel Washington, the same deal. Denzel's like, hey, he's definitely being for real. It's like what we're doing right now, talking in the interview. This is racial relations, right? Maybe Denzel doesn't want to get into all these different subjects, perhaps, but maybe he's more inclined to discuss it more than Morgan. It's not that Morgan is upset by these topics. Maybe Morgan just says it's probably best just to not get super deep into some of the stuff. And it's some subjects, it's always a question of, is it a subject that's edifying? This is kind of a religious topic, a religious term used in my church. Edifying, edification. So some Christians talk about the cross a lot, or they talk about grace, and there are certain terms that are very Protestant sounding. In my church, the LDS church, we talked about the term edification. What is edifying? And perhaps the subject is not always very edifying, but it is something that some people obviously want to discuss a lot. The problem is whether or not you want to talk about it, or whether or not you believe that talking about it or not talking about it helps or doesn't help things to improve, to move closer to what Martin Luther King Jr. wanted. We all want, I think, on some level anyway, is everybody to sing Kumbaya, and not just in some cheesy way, but in reality be more, ready to live with God again and all that good stuff. It's just... the problem is, the irksome thing about this whole thing is that it has to do with the tone, the feeling you get when you watch the news. That's the problem. That is the problem. If, Ron Burgundy and the Anchorman thing just totally made all that whole thing, kind of getting into the 70s and 80s, Anchorman 1, 70s, Anchorman 2, 80s, made it funny, we could laugh at the news, and they laugh at the little lighter, right, the lighter little story to put a smile on your face. So cheesy, man. It's like they still do that. And the fake smiles and that yes, all that stuff. It's just so fake. And would we really be all that offended if people in the news were a lot more, just acted differently? Let me tell you something. Regardless of whatever other people think. Some people want to be lied to. Some people want to have everybody treat them like they're a king or queen, or a little princess. I'm not necessarily that way. I prefer real emotion over this fake crap. But, if you're having a bad day, it's nice when someone's nice to you. You don't want to have someone treat you badly. But if you had to choose between someone being fake or someone being for real, but they're not treating you poorly, they're just really upset, I think you should go with someone being just naturally they're upset. They're upset. They're not sure how to take out what they're feeling, so they're kind of taking that at you. And if you have the good sense and the self-control to kind of hear it and say, oh, I think I know what's going on here. You're not really upset with me, perhaps. Maybe a little bit. Maybe whatever, you're upset about this other thing, and you just don't know how to handle it. Right? When you watch the news, are you guys really all that buoyed up by it? Is it something that, you feel like you need to watch it because If you didn't, you wouldn't know what's really happening in the world. We know what's happening in the world. Literally, I kid you not. If I were, just move somewhere, no TV, just my phone, right? I have my phone, right? But if I were to just, get out in the middle of nowhere, oh man, I guarantee you, because my phone would still be there, right? If I didn't even have my phone, if I was just like, nope, I'm not going to be on YouTube for like a few years, guys. See ya, whatever. We'll see what happens to my channel when I get back. I guarantee you, going out in the middle of, the Cascades Olympics or, British Columbia, or, going out in the boonies and just being a mountain man for a long time. I guarantee you that within the space of a month, I would at least hear about one current event. I guarantee you, even out in the middle of nowhere, in Northwest Territories, it could be somebody just driving their truck, the radio too loud. Some person of Eskimo descent or Nitsulik or, I don't know what you call them, Alaska Native or American Indian or whatever, or, Inuit or whatever, somebody that becomes your friend, right? They notice that you're new in the area and they want to be your friend. They will mention something, some current event, just because, sure, why not? That's it. That's what I'm talking about. I guarantee you, within a month, I'm going to hear something. What I'm trying to say is, we're all, every day, literally, just being bombarded with stuff. We are being bombarded with news. It's like we almost have to like push it away, constantly. There's a gentleman, I taught his daughter piano lessons. I mentioned him. I won't mention him by name, but it's not important. But it's just this gentleman mentioned this to me. We're good friends and stuff. He mentioned, he doesn't. That's why he doesn't watch the news. Those of us who, for whatever reason, are kind of trying to push something away, on some level or another, whether it's fast food, or junky food, or the news, that's really negative. It's like it's not easy. You have to keep doing it. People want to tell you what's going on. What's the harm in that? Go to your YouTube page. Very first thing you see, news. Go on Facebook, which I don't, really, but news. I try playing a video game. Oh, video games. It's so therapeutic, right? I think video games are pretty safe. But, I don't know. So now I mean, I think a lot of people will go to video games to get away from it all. Or to go for a walk. But then when you're on a walk, I don't know. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm getting, I might make, I'm like a part 2 of this. These are things I'm getting sick and tired of. I'm getting sick and tired of what's happening in the news, but also I'm getting sick and tired of the amount of news I'm getting and not being able to process it all. And also, I'm getting sick and tired of hearing misinformation or being confused. I'm sick of being confused. Confused about the conspiracies and confused about other things that are very much clear as crystal, what's happening, but confusion about what we should do to resolve these things. On some level, because, we know what's right and wrong. We know ultimately how to deal with certain things, but the problem is the human element. The problem is, what are people likely to do? It's a study in human behavior. It's a human behavior and morality, right? Morality, you can say, being an absolutist philosophically, I am an absolutist. I believe in absolute truths. I believe in absolute morals. That there are absolutely things that are absolutely using absolute lot. There are things that are absolutely wrong and things that are absolutely right. There are a lot of, maybes and ifs and ands and buts and stuff. Sure, buts. But there are some things that are definitely clear as crystal, always wrong, or always right. Right. Always right. Sorry about that. So, but human behavior. What will work? What things, what policies should the government, the government, what things should we be saying and doing to improve the situation? It's just a very murky gray area. It's always been murky and gray. Who understands human psychology? You know, who truly understands it? You pay a psychologist, but really a lot of times your problems either might seem like just emotional or psychological, maybe spiritual, or maybe social. Maybe you need to get out of an area. The solution to a lot of these problems we face in this world are not always very easy. We start with morality, and then we go from there. But does the news help? Does watching the news help? Especially those fake smiles. Those fake smiles. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Make a part 2 of this, maybe just a bit. Take care. Bye.